the service, you didn't really get to meet this wonderful man, Richard. And he is fantastic, and I'm sure he's going to talk a little bit about how fantastic he is, because he does that very well. And we know that he's from New York, and we know that most New Yorkers are very good at that, and telling you who they are and who you are, too. So he's going to be looking at who you truly are. Your handprint came in with, you had it before you were born, your fingertips were already born. So just think of, you are what you were supposed to be, or not. We'll let you know.
So, and another kind of little ad thing is that anybody who wasn't here for the service this morning, it will be in next week's CCL Insights, so that you can watch the thing in its entirety. So be sure I have your name and your email address, and legibly written, and I'll be happy. You know, you'll get the CCL Insights, and he'll be on there with his Sunday sermon.
And the workshop next weekend, you can tell them. Those who weren't here this morning should know that myself and Todd Zimmerman will be doing a workshop next weekend.
Exactly.
So
there's flyers on the back there.
Yeah, it'll be an exploration of this stuff. Today I'm just going to look at your hands. Any other logistics before I get started?
No, that's just
Well, I thought we had another car coming in, but maybe not. So I think we're ready.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have pulled in the largest group we've had for some time.
Yeah.
Yep.
We want, and before he even starts, let's give him a round of applause.
Yay! You did an excellent talk this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so let's take a nice deep breath before we get started here. So I have just a couple of things to say before I start reading hands. Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Tina Bergen, and I'm in Richard's current master's program for hand analysis.
And
Hi, Tina. Welcome.
You're going to be watching?
I'm going to be watching.
Yes,
That's
and
okay
then
with you.
Afterwards, as everybody's hair catches on fire, you'll have the
It's in my
you
bag.
have the extinguisher for that.
Okay. Richard, you might want to make an announcement. If you don't want this to be taped, if you just tell Corky and she'll shut off the recorder.
Thank you.
And then she'll turn it back on. Sometimes people don't necessarily want their image to be going out on video.
Well, there's also that brings up part of what I was just going to say. I only have a couple of things to say before I get started here.
Wait just a minute. I mean, we want a single circle, Patty, so find some people that you think are interesting to sit in between and tell them to move over.
Or somebody's lap, or something like that, yeah.
On your lap.
You had to open this one.
Oh, now you're getting really out in North Dakota over there.
Headed back to New York.
Are you from New York?
Yeah.
Ah,
No, like I said, this way we're going. Okay.
I might have picked you up in my taxi. I drove taxi in New York while I was in college. Or I might have run you over off the street. Okay.
Do you care to know who's here?
I'm going to ask everybody to say their name in just a moment.
Okay, good.
But what I want to tell everybody is that I'm going to say things about you out loud in front of the group. You have every right to come to whatever conclusion. Are we on already?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So you have every right to come to any conclusion that you want. Just because I say something, I wouldn't believe something just because somebody told me. However, those who were here this morning, as I said, once the genie's out of the bottle, once I've told you about some part of you, it's going to be hard not to notice that part as it rings a bell everywhere that you're walking around. So I will be talking about your life purpose, but I might not tell you what your life purpose is, and there'd be a good reason that I don't. I could see if there's something happening that I consider to be emergency level. It doesn't matter what your life purpose is if you're about to be swallowed by the earthquake or something, and I'll be giving you advice along those lines. Also, if you do the math, you can see I'm not going to spend an hour per person today, and therefore I'm not going to be able to get to everything that's in your hands, not even close. So I have a time constraint on me, and I can see things. Okay, 1 second.
Grab a seat, so we'll push over
That one open? Maddie, is there another black chair back there? Because the brown ones take up a lot more room. Can we this way? There we go. Back it up to the left. There we go. Thank you.
You realize that's exactly the opposite of what I intended.
Well, we needed to get you in. I'd rather not be talking over everybody moving the chairs around. Yeah, so much for stealth. Okay. I was just saying I'm going to read everybody's hands out loud in front of the group, and everybody has a right to come to whatever conclusion they please. And it doesn't even matter so much what you think while you're getting the reading. Just take it for what it's worth. I do recommend very much looking at the video afterwards. And I can tell you why I recommend that. I've been doing this a long time. People come up afterwards and say, how come you said this about me? And I go, which one were you again? And she goes, bum, 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 bum. I go, yeah. So I said this, this, and that. No, you didn't. You said that, that, and that. I go, that's interesting. The girlfriend is over here. Another girlfriend is over there. We're all going, what is she talking about? So what you claim to have heard and what was actually spoken might not match. And I see all the vertical moving heads. So you think that the person next to you is subject to that, but not you? Again, as I was talking to Sean, this soul psychology stuff can slip right through your fingers. And it's as concrete as all get out. It is as blunt as a sledgehammer. And at the same time, it's as ephemeral as a dream. I've talked to people who come up to me after they've been my student even longer than you've been my student, saying, I think I finally figured out what you told me 5 years ago. That was my life. My life purpose is this, isn't it? I go, yeah, that's what it was on your first tape. It's very interesting. Another question I get asked frequently, and I'll hang out afterwards. If you want to ask me more questions, your reading didn't make sense, I'm not going to flee. I'll hang out. I'll try to answer your questions if you want to. But a question I get asked, which I find very interesting, is how come you didn't talk to me about my life purpose? And I go, what did I tell you? They go, bump. I go, oh yeah, your whole reading was about your life purpose. Life purpose is often not what the person expects it to be. Not what the person expects it to be at all. Also, the other readings are for you as well, not just your own reading. Can you hear me in the back? Am I talking loud enough? That's good.
Can they put this on their smartphone if they
Oh,
want to record?
please. Put it on your smartphone, put it on your friend's smartphone, so that we have 3 recordings. We're taking
you want
no
your
chances
card?
here. Not unless they really
Okay.
need me to. That'll slow us down. It takes 45 seconds to burn the CD.
Yeah.
No need to do that since we're set up this way,
Yeah.
and use your own devices. Where was I going?
Sorry.
Your friend's smartphone?
What I was saying is that you can think, I didn't talk about your life purpose, but I probably did. So, the fact that other readings are taking place and you get an opportunity to listen to them is super to your advantage. You can leave after your reading. I do not recommend it. I really do not recommend it. I've done 2,600 hand reading circles in the last 40 plus years. People who leave early usually do not remember what I said. If I ask them an hour later, what did he say? Well, I don't remember what he said. It's very interesting. Also, the other readings are likely to have information that helps you understand your own reading in a completely different way. So, I understand the babysitter this, you got to do that, whatever you have to do. I really recommend hanging out for the other readings. They are as much for you as your own. I know that would be hard to believe, but I've sat in this chair all these years. You're new to this. The other readings are very much to your advantage to hear, very, very much. You'll get a much better understanding of what I mean by life purpose by hearing others. And if there is people, does anybody here know anybody else that's in the room? That'll be very interesting to hear. And also, people sometimes say, everything you said about Mary was true, but you completely missed me, except Mary's going,
No.
and this is perfectly fine to talk about, perfectly fine to talk about. You're free to come to whatever conclusion you need to. Do me a favor, let's go around the room and have everybody say your first name out loud. And also, when it's your turn to sit in the chair, I'd like you just to put your hands up like this and say what your first name out loud is. That's part of my ritual that tells the hand reader to go to work. So who are you?
Tina Bergen.
Donna Christensen.
Amanda McClure.
Cheryl Ling.
Anna Campbell.
Dottie. Chris.
Richard.
Richard.
Kathleen.
Laura. Eleanor.
Dee Dee. Christina.
Desmond.
Elaine. Linda Joy.
Tamara.
Cheryl.
Patty.
Jim.
Sean. Donnie. Tom.
Marcia.
Quirky.
So we have the four men anchoring the left.
It only takes one.
Okay. I think I said everything that I needed to say.
I have a
Let me
question.
remind you,
What
one
happens with the
second, let
video?
me just remind, I'm just mid-sentence, that's all. Let me just remind everybody, feel free to come to whatever conclusion you wish about your reading. Whatever conclusion you wish. Yes, sir?
You said we can opt not to have it videotaped. What is to happen with the video? What?
Well, ask Corky, what's to happen?
Everybody who's in the circle will get a copy of the videotape.
Okay. And is it going to be published on the internet or something?
Well, it'll be on YouTube, but I can, I'll just tell you guys what it is. It's in a private place.
Okay.
If you have any discomfort whatsoever, don't do it.
Yeah.
But I do recommend that you keep a recording of the reading. Do you have a cell phone with you?
Yeah.
It has a button, record.
Okay.
If you can't figure that out, I have a machine. I'll record it on a CD for you if you request it.
Okay.
Okay?
And we have a lady, didn't give us your name.
Oh.
Your name.
Karen.
Did we miss you?
I had to go get my phone.
Oh, thanks, Dottie. I need somebody looking over me.
I'll be there.
It's usually Roberta, but she's not here. Okay. Are there people with different time constraints this afternoon? Are there people who are not going to stay the entire time?
What is it going till?
It's going to go to 4, I suppose.
3, at 4 o'clock we have the dancers.
At 4 o'clock, we have a woman who's from Persia who's going to be doing
At
dance.
4. So you're giving me till 3 to get
3:30.
everybody's hands?
3:30.
3:30.
Okay, so that's 2 to 3:30 is an hour and a half. This is an hour 40. Okay, I'm just doing the math on how long I've got. Is anybody needing to leave before an hour 40?
I may be pulled out.
Have a seat.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so I'll just ask everybody to not chit-chat during the readings. It just distracts the reader and me. Chit-chat between readings. And again, if you want to talk to me afterwards, you can. With the sheriff just attached.
Yeah, afterwards we'll probably meet in the other room so that you can just talk all you want.
Anybody else who is going to be going next and wants to tape on their own device, which is perfectly fine, please find out what your device is and find out where the button is to push so we could be a smoothly operating, timely machine.
Okay.
Right? Who about just attack? Okay, so I'll take a nice deep breath. First name, please.
Chris.
Chris. So now I know where we met, Chris. We met at Know-It-All University. That's where we both learned how to become know-it-alls. All right. Remember those days back at Know-It-All?
Still there.
Quad? Yeah, it's still there. Because if people were smart, they would just shut up and listen to us, right? Aren't we righter than everybody else? Yes, I'll just add, I don't need an answer. I know, we are righter than everybody
I
else.
try to keep it toned down.
Well, here's my point to you. It's not your job to keep it toned down. That would be violation of rule number 1. No, you were, as the rest of us remember our days on the quad again, we were designed to be the advice givers on the planet, and they should just shut up and listen to us. Now, part of what happens to the know-it-all archetype is that they cannot stop their brain from looking over everything and rapidly seeing how the parts fit together and what the meanings are thereof. There is no turning that on and off. It's like when you wake up in the middle of the night, your ears work, and this part of you, you'll notice it was working. And it applies itself to anything. And the example I use, I'm stuck in the Miami airport for 3 hours, so I'm standing outside watching the traffic pattern. It starts to work out. I can't believe nobody figured this out. See where this is happening? They could have done this. Just a few lines over here, I put a person. What do I know about traffic and airports? It doesn't matter. That know-it-all part of me is putting all the pieces together. By the way, chakra-wise, it's a special arrangement of your third eye that allows you to do certain things to understand an understory in a way that people with the standard third eye equipment, it works differently for them. And therefore, part of our job is to rent out our third eye to people who they don't see what we see. They don't know what we know. And even if they knew it, they wouldn't be able to use it. But that also means then that our advice would be given to people with different equipment, and we would have to adjust our communications so that people with different advice would be able to receive. Because basically, you'd be telling them that they're doing something wrong. And who wants to hear that? Now, if you're stopping me in the elevator and telling me how to live my life, I don't want to hear it. If you're my mother-in-law, that's why I moved to Fiji, to get away from you. I don't want to hear any more about how I should be treating your daughter. But if you're my tennis coach, that's why I pay you the big bucks, right? So to me, part of the challenge for the know-it-alls is to make sure that you have proper license to practice. It is not in your interest, bless you, to keep it under your hat. It is in your interest to find the right environment and the right way of deploying in that environment. And this is going to be the crucial fingerprint, of course. And that's a loop also. Okay.
I'd be loopy.
No, you're not loopy, as a matter of fact. You're kind of under loopy. Loopy people in palmistry world are the delicate, sensitive, emotionally immersive personality type. That's not you at all. No, you're the type. You can translate accordingly. That's different. There's a two-pronged element to your life purpose. One is about some worldly, strong push forward with your know-it-all self. But the other half of that equation is about the soft underbelly and exploring the vulnerable side of the soft underbelly, which means, since that's your weak suit, that means making mistakes about that and opening up your jugular for activities that you instigated wind up putting you in positions where you can't escape the vulnerability mess. And that will that's going to happen to you anyway, but that will either happen to you in ways that move your movie forward or happen to you in ways that trap you indefinitely. And how you handle boundaries with people who are violating them, and how you handle the disappointments to people that you put your arm in the fire up to here and then they went ahead and did X, Y, Z to you. These are going to be crucial learning programs. Your guardian angels have notes before you even started this life. They had meetings, wondering how you would handle that. They had meetings and discussions as to what they thought would happen when those type of events occurred. So,
Thank you.
that's your reading for today.
That's,
Okay.
wow.
And interestingly, Richard, she's one of our newest ordained ministers here.
So you should listen to her.
I know some,
Was there anybody else who had a time constraint? Have a seat. Please have a seat. Did you just say turn that off?
I did.
oh, sure, of
No
course.
video.